You've just finished making a new art piece in Photoshop and you've come to the crucial moment. You need to color it. You want to do something new that pops, that's almost a little bit on the exploratory side of color. My favorite way of doing that is using the difference blend mode. Let me show you how I use it. Don't sleep on this amazing blend mode and this cool way of coloring your scenes. So I have 3 different images that I got off Pexels, and I brought these into my project file here. These are free, they're fair use. You can find them on pexels.com. I love to start with the difference. Difference is fantastic. An easy way to explain what it's doing is here on this white background right here. I'm gonna hit B for brush. We have our brush here. I'm gonna make it a solid, hard brush. When I paint, it's painting black. If I switch it to white, it paints white. Brush. There we go. Very normal. Now, if I change my brush's blending mode to difference, when I have white selected and I paint, it is going to invert whatever color is below. That is what the difference blend mode does. So depending on what color you have, it will invert all the colors below it over and over and over again. But you have to have white selected. If you have black selected, it treats it as a transparent brush. So I have black here and I'm painting and nothing's happening at all because it's not inverting anything. It's keeping things the same. Any variation that you have of white will start to manipulate the colors below. And now I have pink. It just looks cool. It's a cool blend mode. So if I come to this top layer with the pink brush and I paint over everything, I am now getting the pink inversion of the colors that are there, which very much looks negative. If I Control Z that and I hit D to get back to black and white, hit X to turn my brush to white, and then I paint over, you're getting just the inverted. So it's literally just inverting the colors. It would be the exact same thing, Control Z, if I hit V, selected my image, and it went Control I, and you invert the colors of the image. Now you have a basic understanding of how the difference works, right? We're inverting whatever is below the lightest colors, and it will do less of an inversion the closer to gray or black that you get, the less of a change you're going to see happen. So first and foremost, I'm going to have my solid layer here. We're going to hit Alt and drag them up, and I can just start with this top version right here and immediately just go to difference, and it's just going to turn everything black because it is the exact colors doing the negative whatever colors are there, so you're going to get nothing. Now if we click on this though and we invert it, now you're starting to see something interesting. Some of the highlights are the original color. Some of the whole background is almost the same color, a slightly more saturated look to it. Now we can drag this one up on top of it, holding Alt, make 2 difference layers here, and now you can see you're getting another kind of weird selection. But let's take this one and uninvert it. Now you're getting another different color look here. So this is a very fun way to mess around with the colors of an art piece that you have completed. Even if it looks totally fine, looks totally normal, you're like, I don't really want to change this that much, you can start doing inversions. Now, these are inverting not just the luminosity, but also the color. What we can do with these is go Control-Shift-U and make them black and white. And that will also change the way that it is manipulating the color beneath it. This is also an easy way to get these cool, slightly inverted shadows or slightly inverted highlights on a base image if you want to use a gradient map on top of everything. So we can come here, we can go to gradient map above everything, and let's merge all of these down as clipping masks. So I'm holding Alt in between the layers and I'm turning all of these into clipping masks so they're going to stick to this. And on this one, let's go Command-Shift-U as well. So this bottom layer is a normal layer and it now just has lost all of its color. That's all we've done is we've turned its color off. Then we have an inverted difference right above it and a regular difference above that. And then above everything else, we have this gradient map. Now let's click on the gradient map and let's reverse it. And this will just be turning whatever's black in this image to black and whatever's white in this image to white. But then that's going to start to change your image as you start adding more of these different layers in. Sometimes I'll continue dragging these up, alternating between inverted and regular until I get some pretty crazy shadows and highlights. And then I can come into my gradient mat and you can start messing around with the colors here. Not all of them are going to look good, but you can kind of get an idea. I even have some that I've made on my own. Some chrome ones, some gold ones. You can have a blast with this. Start moving things around. Now he looks like he's made out of gold. Yeah, just simple way to isolate and maybe do things with the color that you wouldn't normally do in a Photoshop project. All right, so that is how you can use difference with an image over itself, right? That's a cool way to do that. What I'm going to do now is start using some color. So let's delete those other layers. I don't really need them for this next part. Let's turn this image on. This is already a black and white image. Got this off of Pexels. What we're going to do here is I'm going to add in a solid color. And we can pick pretty much any color you want. I like to stay pretty saturated and mess around with it in the settings down in the properties. But first, let's do this. Let's delete the layer mask because we don't need that. So we add a color layer above this image, and I am going to layer mask it. It's just an easy thing to do. So anything we drop in between there, we know it's just affecting that. We're not mixing with anything. And we're going to go right back down to difference. Now, this is looking real cool. This is looking pretty darn awesome. You can also lower the amount of the effect with your fill. Really kind of get a subtle color effect. And it's just inverting the lights and the darks from the color red. But it gets really cool once you start messing around with the different colors. This is probably one of my favorite color schemes right here. I love this. I love how that looks. It just looks so cool. I also like the inverse of that. The very cool and warm contrasts with each other. Looks super sick. Another way to do this with maybe a little bit more control is we can rasterize this color fill and then come here, hue saturation right above it. Let's manipulate that down, Alt to layer mask it, and we can just delete that actual mask there. Now we have our, let's drag this down. Now we have our controls for this right here, and we can start messing around with the saturation, really get some pop art stuff going on here, lower the details. Like that looks great. I think the blues and yellows on that looks fantastic. If you want some more detail to show up, some less detail, more washed out, less washed out, you really have a lot of control on it. So this is another way to manipulate your color of your scene using difference. You're not really changing the shadows and the highlights too much like we were working with this guy. The last thing you can do is manipulate both of these styles together. So let's grab this layer group right here. I'm going to Alt Shift, or I'm going to Alt drag them down over this image. And we are going to turn this image on. Now we already have this doing its thing. Let's go like that. Go like that. But let's take this image and let's drag it up. And on this one, let's go difference. And Control I. So now you're starting to get a change of color and a change of highlight and shadow. We can drag this one up above it and turn that off. Drag this one up above. Drag this one up above. And you can really start manipulating this. But let's grab our hue, saturation, and luminance, and let's move this around. Start messing with this. Again, love that blue color scheme. We can drag this down. We can bring this down this way. We can bring this up. Really going to change how your whole scene looks. And if you don't like the way a layer is working, just turn one off. You're going to get a drastically different color scheme. But this looks great. If you're trying to dive into the more kind of exploration side of coloring your images in Photoshop, this is a really fun way to do it. Mess around with the blend mode, especially the difference blend mode, and you're going to start getting some really cool stuff. Like, look at this. We just moved, I don't even know what layer I just moved up. I moved the hue saturation layer to different, and now we're getting a completely different look. So have fun with this, you guys. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and really start doing some crazy stuff. A lot of these steps end up making the art look just a little bit better. If you guys have a different way of coloring your art pieces, drop it. Drop it in the comments, or even better yet, make a video on it and tag me in it. I'd love to learn how you guys are coloring your art pieces in new and amazing ways. Here is to Photoshop art. I will see you guys in the next video.